You're tuning in to the J Blast Network. Oh yeah, welcome to the next level. Hey yo everybody, what's up? You're tuning in to the J Blast Network. And we're back today with a new thing on the channel. We're starting out with retro discussions. This was actually suggested to me by a friend, and I thought about doing these smaller videos for some extra content on the channel. Plus, I'm a retro channel, so I want to talk about some of these things that happen in the retro community, some of these things that are going on with collecting, some of these old games, and some of the stuff that's happening, some of the wishes or wants of people in the retro community. And my friend decided on the topic that I should do, so today's topic would be going over, should Sega make another console? And this is kind of a topic that's been in the works for, well, years, ever since the Sega Dreamcast failed and it ended and Sega went third party. And personally, I think that they shouldn't make a new console, but I do want to discuss what should happen if they ever did make a new console. Now, making a new console, especially in today's market, is very, very hard to do. Many people are already ingrained or stuck on these different consoles, whether it be Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft. And what's really going to get people on these consoles are exclusives. Now, Sega has a lot of franchises. Some people think that Sega doesn't have franchises, but they do. Sega has many, many franchises, such as Sonic the Hedgehog, Jet Set Radio, Knights, Sonic Amigo, just many, Yakuza, many. I can keep going on all day. But they really only use a few franchises right now. And if there is a franchise that is getting some new games, it's most likely a remake. As of right now, the only franchise that have had any activity in the past, I want to say in the past 5 to 3 years, has been Sonic the Hedgehog, of course, Yakuza, Sakura Wars, House of Dead remake's coming, Panzer Dragoon remake is coming, Streets of Rage, and Wonder Boy. Those are the only franchises that have had any sort of development over these past years. And those are all good franchises. Oh, Super Monkey Ball. I forgot Super Monkey Ball. Sorry about that. But those are some of the franchises that Sega has been working on for the past few years. And I feel like if they were to go back to their console roots, then they should definitely start expanding more of the franchises. I forgot Space Channel 5 VR game too. Some of these other franchises like Knights and Jet Set Radio and some RPGs. Oh, Fantasy Star Online. I keep forgetting franchises. Sorry about that. But the question really is, are people willing to buy a console for those exclusives? I mean, I personally would, because I'm a Sega fanboy. But I don't know if everybody else will buy those consoles for those exclusives. You see, here's the thing. Let's compare it to Xbox for a second, all right? So Xbox has, I think it has less big franchises that they own now, especially now with Bethesda. They have more thanks to Bethesda, but they have less franchises they actually own now than Sega did, I think. Because you really have Halo, you have Gears of War, you have the Bethesda games now with Fallout, and Skyrim. Let's say Skyrim. Elder Scrolls, I'm sorry, so I'm going to piss somebody off in the comments, I already know. But you only have those, and you have Banjo, you have Conquer, you have any of the rare games. I'm trying to think of what else. Flight Simulator, and that's pretty much the big ones. And there's some other ones like Psychonauts and stuff like that. I think what's really selling those systems is not those, but what they did with Game Pass. Because a lot of people go to PlayStation, even though like a lot of games on PlayStation do go to Xbox, especially now, the PlayStation has just these big name exclusives that people, drop. And when people think of Xbox, as of right now, most people will just say Gears of War and Halo. But what gets them is that Game Pass. That's what's got people buying the Xbox Series S right now is Game Pass. And I feel like Sega's gonna have to have something more if they want to make a new console sort of similar to Game Pass, because we gotta see if people want these franchises back. Now, a lot of people do want these franchises back, but the question is, do these franchises sell systems? Because you see, when they make a console, they don't make the money from the console. They sell at a price where they're not making more than what they sold, like not making more money from the individual console being sold itself. So software sales have to come in and make up for that. So it's very important that software sales make up for that. And the other thing, will other companies want to go on Sega's platform? Would be successful enough for them to want to even indulge in Sega's platform? That's another big question. If they were successful in the best scenario, then I'm pretty sure that they would want to add more games on there. But the reality of it is that they're probably going to stick to the PlayStation, the Xbox, and the Switch. The Switch, Nintendo had this issue with the Wii U, and it has an issue with the GameCube. But the reason why, until the Switch started selling like crazy, people wanted to hop on there. It doesn't matter how, and the thing about it doesn't matter how powerful the console really is. If the console is selling, the developers will accommodate for it, even if the game has to suffer for that, because they need those sales. The Switch sells like crazy, and they're gonna get extra sales out of that. And it has its portability. That's part of the reason why it has. But what gimmick would Sega have? And that's really why I don't really care for them to make a new console, because is there really a need for it right now? I mean, a lot of their Sega games are on different consoles, and they already have deals with different things like Phantasy Star Online 2. So is there really a need for a Sega console right now? Look, I love playing my Sega Genesis, my Sega Saturn, and the Dreamcast, and I love playing those games on there. I don't have a Master System or Game Gear, but I have played games on there through other means. But at the same time, I look at these systems, and they were great back in the day, but it felt like Xbox sort of took that spot after the Dreamcast went away. They really had great games. People to this day will tell you that the Saturn and Dreamcast has some really good games on there, and they did. The Saturn is honestly one of the most underrated consoles of all time, in my personal opinion, because it has so many great games that just weren't talked about in there, and that was mostly because Sega didn't localize everything, and the way the system was advertised over here in the West was not that good. It was well in Japan, but not well over here. Like games, I would say, for instance, Panzer Dragoon. I feel like Panzer Dragoon was their answer to something like Star Fox. An on-rail shooter. Star Fox 64 didn't come to it until a while later. You have Panzer Dragoon Saga, which is a really good RPG. You have the Soccer Wars franchise, which again only released in Japan, and we only now are able to experience it well thanks to some fan translations, which really sucks. And that's the big issue. That a lot of their stuff, they didn't make bad decisions. A lot of their stuff was kept over there, and the Saturn kind of faded out into obscurity. And when the Dreamcast came along, well, that had a great start with the release of Sonic Adventure, one of the greatest games of all time, and some of these other games. But the issue that came in was that they didn't have the supply to meet the demand, and Sony came out with a DVD and everything, and Dreamcast games got pirated, and at that point, they had just gotten outsold so hard that they just kind of stopped. And I feel as though some people think that the games were better when they were made on the console, and part of it was probably because they had to make these games sell a system to you. But I do think that, especially in the early 2000s, that they were doing a good job. There were some great games like Panzer Dragoon Orta. I like Sonic Heroes, but that's a good game to me. But but they had also Jet Set Radio Future. Some of these other games they had were very good for their time, and honestly, some of them are better than the previous games that came out on those systems. It's just that I feel though as though they didn't release them, but they slowly started to not release as many franchises as they did before. And I think that's why people want a new Sega console, because they want these franchises back. But I don't think we necessarily need a new Sega console for that. I don't think it's the right time, or it's never going to be the right time for a new Sega console. But they stopped the console market for a reason. And unless they're coming back with something super, super duper big that's going to sell a system, I don't see them doing that. Sonic is popular. Ox is popular. But is it going to sell a system? Is it going to sell a new system? Is it going to get people on a new system? And what would a new Sega system even bring to the table, besides being maybe on par with a PS5 and an Xbox, besides exclusives? PS5 and Xbox, they have their gimmicks. Xbox has Game Pass, PS5 boasts SSD, Xbox has it, but they have their gimmicks. The Switch has gimmicks. What gimmick would a Sega console have? And I can't really think about what gimmick they could really make for that would get people on there too. And that's why I don't really think they should really do that. They should really work on the console. I think they should just start reviving more of their franchises like they've been doing in different ways, and make new games and make new things for new players to find out why I like these franchises. Also, re-releasing games is very important. I think they should re-release a lot of games that they haven't released in a while, because it's been forever since we had those games come out. And and I think everyone deserves a chance to play them games. For instance, Sky of Arcadia, it's a really good game. I have it on my Sega Dreamcast, but it cost me $130, and it's probably more expensive right now. And you know what? It's probably going to get more expensive, and people shouldn't have to pay that much just to play these older titles. And it's more expensive with the GameCube version, Sky of Arcadia Legends. That was emulation, but some people want to have the physical media and play it on the actual system. Sega systems in general are getting more and more expensive by the day. So I think maybe instead of making the system a new console, Sega should really focus on making classic consoles. Look, I have a Genesis Mini, man, and the great thing about it was that not only did it start with a good lineup of games, it was easily moddable. So you can make this your ultimate Genesis collection if you want to play those games, emulating original hardware with the original controllers, and it works phenomenally. Like, I put a ton of games on this thing, man. It's amazing to see, and I wish they would do this for the Saturn and the Dreamcast, because they never really look at Saturn or Dreamcast games. Like, whenever they do these Sega Ages things or these re-releases, it always starts at the Genesis. And look, man, I like Sonic too. I like Sonic. I like some of the Genesis games, but damn, there are so many re-releases of it, and it's like, look, all right, well, how about we get another re-release of Space Channel 5, or another re-release of Soccer Wars with patched, or not patched, but have an English translation of Soccer Wars or something like that, like something that's new to get people in. How about a re-release of Sonic R? I know that's gonna be a controversial one, because you like it or hate that game, but imagine that bundled in the Saturn collection. You had a bunch of games on that Saturn collection, let's say about 30 to 40 games on the Saturn collection. Same with the Dreamcast. Even then they had some great games on there that were from third-party companies. Particularly Capcom made some amazing titles, like Power Stone. Everyone was Power Stone, but guess what? Power Stone is getting expensive too to get. So you have to wonder, what are they gonna do to get these games out, to get these games in people's hands, to let people experience this stuff again without having to break their wallets to find and hunt these games down, especially in the retro market today. I think they really should invest in classic consoles. If someone were to ask me what Sega should do for their console market, and that's really my answer to that question. It's a very interesting topic, and I understand why people want. A lot of people are nostalgic for Sega. I'm pretty nostalgic for Sega. They want their old consoles. I'm nostalgic for Sega on the GameCube, because I didn't grow up with a Dreamcast. I didn't grow up with a Saturn. I didn't grow up with a Genesis. I had to hunt all that stuff down, and luckily I hunted it down when it was pretty cheap, and I got some games in there before they all went up in price. And I've been enjoying those games to this day. I love these consoles, but I have to ask myself realistically. Before I was even like, oh, I love a Sega console. But I have to ask myself realistically, why do I want this? Is it because I want more Sega games, or is it because I want an actual new console? What would the gimmick be besides being, a Sega console? And that's what you really have to ask yourself when discussing this thing. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much the end of the discussion. This is the first time I'm doing this. I'll do this off script. I might ramble on for a bit, but I want you guys to obviously subscribe to the video if you like the video, and let me know what you think about this discussion in the comments below, because I feel like this is a very interesting topic that can go in many ways. So I would love to hear your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching the video. We got more content coming. This is the J Blast Network signing out, and always remember, you gotta believe.